PharmaPhobic is powered by Achieve the Lifestyle, a company dedicated to helping you empower your health, redefine your lifestyle, and all for the health of it. You're listening to PharmaPhobic, where we challenge the state of health in America. I'm Janie, a physician assistant, and I've seen how healthcare keeps people dependent instead of truly healthy.
And I'm Dan, a veteran turned fitness pro here to uncover the truth and explore simple and sustainable health solutions. From big pharma to big food, we're exposing the conflicts of interest keeping us sick and finding better ways to take back our health.
No fluff, no gimmicks, just real talk, real solutions, and a little bit of fun along the way.
Well, hello guys. Welcome to another episode of PharmaPhobic, where we help you become the strongest, healthiest, and most capable version of yourself. I'm here with my lovely wife, Janie.
Janie, hi.
I always got to do an awkward introduction for her just to get her to laugh in the first couple minutes. Guys, today we have a guest, okay? We're very excited to have this guest on because we're going to dive into the crux of the issue when it comes to like the lack of health in the country, and it basically comes down to nutrition. Nutrition, obviously, it's all about food, and the problem with the food is the sourcing. So we have a farmer on deck today.
Let's go.
Regenerative farmer at that, which means that he farms the way your grandpappy did it, okay? The real way, not the way that they want you to think it's done. And we're going to learn some stuff today, guys. So we have on the podcast, everybody please welcome Mr. Jake Engelen. Did I say that right?
Yep, perfect. Yeah.
Good.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this because, we know how to eat. Everybody knows how to eat, but nobody has a relationship with where their food comes from.
Sure.
And then when you tell them that, some of the issues they might be having with their health might be related to, the quality of the food that you're putting in your body. Some people have like a meltdown, like, oh, that's not possible, man. So we want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Then we have, a lot of the agendas out there with, farmland and telling you that it's bad for the climate and all this other stuff. And, we shouldn't have cows because cows fart and they make it hotter. So we should replace the cows with Bill Gates sponsored factories of fake meat and all this other stuff. So we want to have that conversation out in the open today.
Let's do it.
And I also think that you'd be good to speak on soil quality.
Sure.
I don't think people realize that a lot of the food that they're getting, even if they do eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, it's not as nutritious as it was 100 years ago because of the stripping of the soil.
Right.
So, and I don't know a lot about that. I just know that that's a fact.
Yeah. No, it's just very deep conversation, very interesting. Yeah. So first, Jake, like backstory on you, like how did you get into farming? Where were you before farming?
Sure. So I was born in England, actually.
Oh,
wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't get my citizenship until I was in the Marine Corps, actually. So my grandfather ran a construction company, but he also had a ranch, like sheep and ducks and all sorts of different animals, horses in England.
Okay.
Nice.
So I guess that was my first introduction. Not that it was like a hobby for him. Mm-hmm. Maybe like a little homestead, right? They like grew some vegetables and had some sheep, and I think leased a lot of the land to other farmers, but there was always animals around, like livestock around. So that was my first introduction. And then my mom ended up marrying an American. We moved to the United States in 96. He grew up on an old dairy farm. His dad had retired and then split up the old farm into a bunch of different plots. So I lived on one of those plots with my stepfather and my mom. My uncle continued farming cattle and had a Christmas tree farm. And then my grandparents always had this massive garden and like a smokehouse for deer, and they were always fishing.
Where was that at?
That was in rural Minnesota, Chaska, Minnesota.
Okay.
I think it's pretty built up like everywhere else is now, but back then it was rural. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. When did you lose the accent?
I was 6 when I moved.
Okay.
So I think as you learn a new word, I don't know, I learned trash, and instead of pronouncing it with a soft A, it was with an American. I don't know. I just I lost it. My mom has an old VHS actually of me speaking with a British accent.
Really?
But I was really young, so I don't remember.
That's wild.
If it transitioned or. But I have 2 half brothers, and they, one grew up in England, one grew up in the United States, and I almost have to translate for them.
Oh, because
it's like completely different lingo.
One has the accent, the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
Not that of course they can communicate, but when they start.
I have a coworker another trainer, and he's British, but he lived in Australia a long time, so he kind of sounds Australian, but he kind of sounds British. And now he's living
Dan.
here.
Yeah, I'm so
Dan,
confused
European
when he
Dan.
talks.
Yeah, so I'm like, Australia, England, oh my God. And then he's starting to get some stuff sounding like an American. I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool to watch. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, you drop the accent. It just goes, you leave England and it leaves your body, I guess.
I guess so. I think there's a certain age. I don't know what that age is, maybe 10 to 15.
I
or
do know
something.
there's a woman that we do jujitsu with, Charlotte. She was born
she's
in England.
England too,
You can
yeah.
only hear it. I think she was older than you when she moved, but you can hear in certain words. It doesn't sound like an English accent, but you're like, that's not right.
The way she says mom, she says like mum.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
huge British.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So what?
Yeah, where were we?
You came, lived in Minnesota. Like it sounds like farming is in your,
Yeah.
that connection to the land, homesteading, that sort of thing runs in the family a little bit.
Yeah, oddly,
so you were
my
exposed to it.
My stepfather, I call him Dad. He's the man that raised me. He started out farming and then got to Wall Street, and then
Interesting.
always wanted to get back to farming. So he was always talking to me like, "We got to start a ranch. We got to start a ranch." He ended up dying an alcoholic, but yeah, it's unfortunate. But so he always wanted to get back to ranching, and then funny enough, after the Marine Corps, I got a degree in math. I got a master's degree in math too, but I can like barely read, but I don't know, maybe I got dropped on my head or something, but that worked. But then what do you do with a math degree? I just ended up going to a hedge fund here in Boca. And look, I grew up on like 150 acres in rural Minnesota. So why I ever thought that was going to work, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But it was never going to work, right? Like 3 months in, I was like, all my friends were like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
And then made a little bit of money and then started the farm. So I
So
think I
how-
made it like 3.5 years, something like that,
How'd
Okay.
you end up in Florida?
under the fluorescent lights. I graduated during COVID
Okay.
and then took a job at a hedge fund down here
Okay.
in Boca.
So, how'd you get into the Marine Corps?
And why? Do you have any other military people in your family?
No, none.
You were you're kind of
Yeah, I don't know why.
the first one.
That's a good question.
Did you go straight out of high school?
Like 6 months out of high school, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it
So-
what year was this?
This was 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
It's a good time to go in. That was hot.
It was
year.
a good time, yeah.
Those are hot
2010 was the
years.
push,
Yeah,
yeah.
surgy. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that where you were, like southern Marja, that area?
Yeah, so we bordered Marja at a place called 5 Points. So when they were doing the push in Marja, we did the push in a place called Trek Now at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So context here, Marja is like southern Afghanistan, what we would call RC South back then.
What's RC stand for?
Oh man, it's been so long.
can't throw out
regional
initials.
command, regional command South. Yeah, I gotta like
Shitloads of acronyms.
yeah,
No, I know.
regional. Yeah,
Can I cuss on
the
here?
acronyms have
You
left
can,
in my
you're fine,
body.
yeah.
Like I got out in like 2016, so the acronyms have started leaving my body. But every now
Thank
and then I
goodness.
hear something and I go acronym and I remember something.
No, sometimes you say it just in our day to day. You're like, all right, what's the? I don't. You'll say some like order of operations
the
or
op
something.
word on this.
Yeah, and I'm like, what?
I mean, it's
We're
in
going
there.
to the grocery store.
Yeah, but you know, for context, it's the southern part of Afghanistan, which is where the Marines were for the big surge, and it got wild out there. That's wild times. Like, I'm sure.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, no. And then you said you were in the infantry too.
Yeah, I was a machine gunner.
Ooh, buddy.
So machine gunner, because like I told you, I have no military
Sure.
experience. Were you? Because I know some guys carry the machine guns, but
Yeah.
I also know some are like on top of tanks. But then you'd be a tank person if that was right? Or no? Am I thinking of something different?
No, you're kind of thinking of the same thing, and kind of the like a mounted machine gun or.
You can be mounted or dismounted.
he's
So the way we ran it is if you got blown up, then you went foot mount. So we just rotated out guys.
And were you East
Yeah,
Coast?
so it's like if you didn't get seriously injured, then you would just like get out of the vehicle so you didn't get blown up again. So I did like the
wow.
first few months of my deployment in a turret, like you were speaking about, and then ended up getting blown up and then went on foot patrol.
So how was that injury?
I was in like a big $1 million MRAP, so nobody ended up getting injured except for like blown out eardrums.
Oh, okay.
So I got really lucky. Yeah. We had a directional fragmentation device. So what they'll do is they'll cut an oil can in half, pack it full of homemade explosive. I was about to say HME, but homemade
Thank you.
explosive. Yeah, I got you. I got. And then pack it full of like nuts and bolts and glass. And then if you probably remember this, there's canals off of the Helmand River. So if you think about, I always say Egypt, how there's the green zone. Afghanistan almost exactly the same, right? They're all farming close to the Helmand River and then building irrigation canals outside of that
Right.
river. So you would have canal, road, and then berms where they've dug out that canal. So what they would do is they would cut a massive V on the backside of the berm, put a directional fragmentation device, and you can aim it wherever you want, put it on a pull string, and then all you see above the berm is the turret gunner's head. And then once they're in that V, you could be 200 yards away with a pull string and just pull it, right? So that's what happened to me, but I happened to be being pretty lazy that day. We were RTB, returning to base, and I was in the rear Vic, and then I took this blast, and I just happened to be sitting
Low enough to where it didn't.
So
wow.
We were talking before outside about like the spiritual connection and what happens in your life, and I feel like my entire life has geared me towards doing what I'm doing now.
Okay.
Like everything, the finance, like literally all of it.
So you, prior to us recording, you said that there was a marked change after that explosion in like your awareness of your health.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speak on that a little bit.
I got blown up, and then I couldn't really hear anything. And then my corpsman wrote on a piece of paper, like, your hearing will come back. Don't worry about it. Because I was like, yo, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Then he handed me a cigarette, smoked that cigarette. And then I think the day after, I just quit.
You quit smoking.
There was some kind of drive. There was a driver that wasn't my own conscious thought, right? I don't know if you want to call it God or the universe or whatever. But there was some kind of driver that was like, man, you don't want to eat shitty food anymore. So then I just stopped eating MREs as much as I could, right? Sometimes it's impossible. It wasn't like I was packing cans of peas in my
people that say they want to try MREs, I tell them this shit all the time. I'm like, bro,
don't do it.
You want to eat cancer?
Yeah. You want to not shit for 3 days? Is that normal?
You want to eat cancer?
Good. Yeah.
Like you read
really
the ingredient labels
the amount of
on
preservatives
these things.
is gnarly.
It's crazy.
I ate them for years. Probably you did too.
I mean, I got to a point where I started. I always tell Janie, I was like, if I couldn't heat it up, I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
So I would just kind of go hungry for a couple of days sometimes, but it's. I didn't have the aversion I would have to it now. Basically, like I just.
You'd have to pay me a lot of money.
You'd have to pay me a lot of money to eat an MRE. Even when we went camping and stuff, like some of the, I wasn't going to touch it.
When we hiked the Grand Canyon, we were with some friends who do a lot of backpacking, so they had a ton of. Are they still called MREs?
They fall in that category, like these camp meals.
Yeah.
But you read the ingredient label, obviously it's probably half of what an MRE has in it. It's not as bad, but it's still pretty preserved.
We weren't so remote that there wasn't a like camp convenience store, so we just got packets of tuna and some crackers and
that works.
Like I'm like I'd rather eat that than
100%.
Tough.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You said you smoked a cigarette, so you were a smoker in the Marine Corps?
Oh, smoked and dipped at the same time. Yeah.
Dang.
What?
I know guys like that.
I smoked 40 cigarettes a day.
I knew guys like that. I
and
told you.
dipped because like so
dip and smoke. Yeah.
So
I'd wake up, dip, smoke.
So I had
Were you drinking Monsters too?
Yeah, man. Rippets.
I tell Jamie the military runs on Monsters and tobacco. Like,
that's it.
He's like, no, I can't be. I'm like, Monster and tobacco. That's what the military
just lighten
runs
up
on.
everything in the brain.
I was taking powder coffee, you know, the little Insta coffees, mixing that with dip and putting it in. That was like,
you know what's funny? Like, then you were a Marine. Like, Marine?
You're like, I can just imagine your brain was just like, let's go.
Yeah.
I think my adrenals were already shot anyway, so I was like, let me just shoot him, like, you know, destroy him some more.
I tell my first deployment. I was deployed 2007 to 2009 in Iraq, and I was in the Western Iraq, which was a Marine Corps AO. So there weren't that many Army units, and it was all Marine Corps support type stuff. So I used to work out. I got into working out with a group of Marines, like sniper section, a couple EOD guys, and we would, you know, it's like 8 of us, and we would work out in the afternoon together. And I was the only Army guy. For the Army at the time, I was in above average shape, you know, like 300 plus PT score.
Nice.
But the Marines would beat me at these workouts. And I was so pissed every time. Just like, bro, I'm in shape. Like, how are these guys beating me? And one of the guys, he's like, they're Marines, bro. And I was like, oh, I get it. So I always tell Jenny, the average Marine is in better shape than the average Army guy. Sorry, guys. I mean, I got to give it to you on that. But to think that you can be in that kind of shape and smoke that much and do that much tobacco and what you're running on is crazy.
I saw unbelievable feats in the Marine Corps.
Of physical capability.
Guys smoking cigarettes, running 17-minute 3 miles.
That
smokes like no problem.
Just like hanging out?
Multiple guys that have been in the Marine Corps for like 20 years. They look 55.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know how. That's
They'd be
it's a weird
Olympic
organization.
athletes.
Yeah,
If they
Olympic
weren't into
athletes, like, it's
alcohol and
insane.
tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think I've told, there's one guy that I was in a thing with at Bragg that he, short kid, I think he was a wrestler, probably from the Midwest because he was that small. But
What are
he
you
would,
saying about the Midwest?
that you guys got some crazy genetic ass, capability here. Because
I heard you
That
say
GMO
small.
corn, you know?
no, but he was short. He looked like a lightweight wrestler. This kid smoked and dipped at the same time. We would go on ruck marches. He'd be the first one back by a lot. Like, and I knew he was around when I would come in because I could smell the cigarettes. He'd like finish his thing, light up a cigarette.
I don't
Incredible.
get it. I tried to dip once in high school, and I did throw up from it.
Yeah. It's
Like
best to
it's
stay away.
intense. Yeah, it's intense.
Man, it's crazy. Anyway, that's youth for you. So you get blown up, and then it changed like your.
Yeah, and then I tried to go like no fats, but that was like really bad for my joints. So I was
Yeah.
eating like super lean meat and then only like dark green vegetables from the commissary. Or I actually, it was like a huge knowledge dump. I don't even know. Oh, the chow hall, from the chow hall. And that really didn't go well. I was like eating egg whites and not the egg yolk. So then it was kind of like from that failure, I had to look more into it. And this was like when Dave Asprey was coming around. So I found his blog on like some deep section of the internet, like how, I don't know how I stumbled across that, but then, so then I started learning more about fats. And then I think as you keep going and keep going, I ended up going to college, found out about regenerative farming, was ordering the majority of my meat and raw milk from the Amish, even though I was going to University of Miami at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, so and then there was a CSA in like Homestead, a really small place that was doing it chemical free. So then I've tried to eat, I mean, not that I don't cheat, like I'll eat a burger once a month or something, right? But I mean, right now in my life, I'm eating like super, super clean. But yeah, I kind of like ebbed and flowed for a few years, then finished college, got a job down here. And then I was living with my ex-girlfriend at the time. She had a completely sand lot in Deerfield. And I was like, I want to start growing some of my own food because I was already trending that way anyway. So it was like the next step is just to grow like some of my own vegetables. So I ended up building a shed and a greenhouse there, growing some food inside, at least starting some plants. And then I picked up a book called Dirt to Soil
Okay.
and watched a documentary about a regenerative farm in Canada or California. It's like one of the first famous ones. My Biggest Little Farm.
My biggest little
If you
farm.
guys haven't seen that.
Nope, I'm gonna write that
My
down.
Biggest Little Farm. It's like they made it like very cute story about trials and tribulation and regenerative farming, and this couple like wanted to get clean food and they were sick, and I think everybody's story kind of stems from like you were saying, like everyone's sick. So if you end up getting into this, you know, it's through something like that, right? Where you want to try and get healthier. So they ended up raising a bunch of money, and then I started reading a bunch of books, and I'll just drop like all the heavy hitters like Greg Judy, Joel Salatin, Will Harris, Alan Nation, Alan Savory. These are all like this is like 90s bulls of regenerative farming.
Gotcha.
So I consumed like 10 or 15 books and then ended up meeting a kid named Tanner who worked for a guy named Jim Kovaleski. Jim Kovaleski has a half-acre regenerative farm in Newport Richey. And I think he coined something like the grass garden.
Okay.
He does it all no water, just grass clippings because it conserves moisture.
Interesting.
Wow.
Then I went up there to see him, ended up having a conversation with him and Tanner. And what he did was pretty much put 2 feet of wood chips and let that decompose and plant straight into it.
Okay.
No chemicals. He services 6 restaurants in Newport Richey, Florida, and then his own CSA. And I was like, okay, so maybe this is something viable. Did the same thing at my ex-girlfriend's place in Deerfield. We ended up growing, I think, something like 30 or 40 different varieties of fruiting trees and vegetables.
So you said it was a sand lot.
Completely sand.
So then
junk
you
in
did
the hood
like
in Deerfield.
the mulch, what
Yeah,
was
tons of mulch.
like
and then
you said 2 feet of it, or?
I just spread as much mulch as I could. And
Okay.
I was getting it dropped off for free from
Oh,
a
okay.
landscaper and pretty much shoveling it by hand.
And then that decomposes.
That decomposes.
And then you plant on top of that.
Yeah, so I don't
Okay.
know if you want to get into the science of it. We can.
Yeah, I'm a nerd.
Wherever you
Let's
want.
go.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So in order to get optimal decomposition for any kind of plant matter, you need a 1 to 30 nitrogen to carbon ratio,
Okay.
oxygen and water, right? So Carbon comes from plant matter of pretty much any kind. Nitrogen comes from manure. And then oxygen comes from rotation, like when they tell you to rotate a compost bin. This is to get it from something called anaerobic to aerobic decomposition.
Okay.
Anaerobic is like the smelly decomposition. Then you aerate it, and then you get aerobic decomposition. I think I have those, right? I'm not a scientist. I just farm
think so,
chickens.
yeah.
But yeah. And then all you really need to do is add moisture in order to get bugs and protozoa and fungi. Obviously, fungi is the first step. So yeah, you want to do that in the soil. So I essentially did that on that lot and then started planting directly into it. And I had to play around with different like natural pesticides like neem oil and peppermint oil and things like this, right? It wasn't perfect, but it was at least a start. And I was growing
no
some of my own
glyphosate?
foods.
You ain't putting that glyphosate
A lot
on
of
that?
glyphosate.
Roundup.
A lot of Roundup.
A lot of Roundup.
Actually,
You
what
put
I did
that
is I
much
just
effort? And
I
then just-
tilled the sand actually, and then just planted with a bunch of.
So the plants that you put in there, do they permeate into the sand? Do the roots go down through it, or does it stay in just that?
Well, what ends up happening is, I guess, the rain kind of takes some of that. I mean, if you dug down
Yeah.
deep enough,
Right.
you would hit sand, but the sand started getting murky and dark as well.
Okay.
So it was like the nutrients were getting
Like leaching down.
kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think a plant's probably smart enough to know where it gets water and then knows where it gets nutrients. So that's actually a really interesting point about plant roots communicating with the soil. So if we don't kill the soil, say a plant needs phosphorus, via root exodus, like liquidy substance in its roots, it will communicate to the soil and secrete, I'm not a scientist, enzymes and things. And that will attract certain bacteria to eat that. Then that bacteria will cycle and die, and their carcasses are like full of phosphorus.
That's amazing.
So this is happening all over the place, and like trees are communicating with each other, and he's like, hey, I got some bacteria over here. Like, it'll be quick, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if they've timed any of that or whatever, but there's a lot going on that we don't know, and human beings are insanely arrogant.
That we think we can make something better
Yes,
than that.
yes,
That-
right?
that I
Or we can
always stand on that.
compartmentalize a plant that has so much they're communicating with fungi, and who knows what's going on chemically in the soil, and how all of these things play together. I think they were saying there's more life in a handful of soil or 2 handfuls of soil than all the people on the planet.
Yeah.
You know, so to think that we can even come close to understanding the complexity of that, I think is pretty arrogant. So
Nah, we should make it in a factory and let Bill Gates
yeah,
tell us how
or
to do it.
compartmentalize a plant into nitrogenous, phosphorus, potassium.
Yeah.
Inert soil, nitrogenous, phosphorus, potassium, and we're gonna eat that, and we're gonna be healthy.
Yeah.
It's like we came from the soil, right? So why don't we
Yeah.
go back to that? So on the farm, I just try and observe nature as much as possible, and try and mimic it without too much intervention.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
That
That's
is
crazy.
No, that is wild to me. Like, and it's one of those things where I sit there and think about, I think the journey to health is about simplifying as much as you can. And a lot of that, doing these basic things over and over and doing them really well, but also getting back to or closer to our natural state. So when we talk about farming, when you start thinking like, hey, this is how nature works, this is how plants get the nutrients, and the cow's going to eat this, that's how that's going to get the nutrients, and you're going to eat the cow, and you're going to get the nutrients, and then we cycle through this thing over and over infinitely for billions of years. The more we separate from that, the worse things get for us. You know what I mean? And to know how deep it goes, literally, I mean, I'm pun intended, like they got to go deep into the soil to get these nutrients, is crazy. That's mind blowing.
Yeah. So where were we? I regenerated all the
yes.
soil. So then a bunch of like first succession forbs came up, like weeds. And then your first instinct is just pull those weeds because I'm trying to grow other things. But the weeds will tell you something about the soil. So if you have a weed, for instance, with a deep taproot, it means that not much water can permeate that soil.
Okay.
Right? So the weed is there for a purpose with a deep taproot so water can get deeper into the soil. Right? So nature always tells you something. Something that you're doing wrong. It's like jujitsu, right? You get instant feedback. Same thing with the soil. So started learning more about first succession, second succession forbs and grasses, and then really realized I needed manure. Then I had a friend in Tampa that had a horse farm, so anytime I would take a trip up there, I would grab as much peat, which is like wood shavings and manure as humanly possible in the back of my truck, drive it back down and spread that, and then things got even better.
Awesome.
Decomposition happened faster. Then I started getting grass. And then I fell on Joel Salatin, consumed as much. He has Polyface Farms. There was a famous farmer, I guess it would be him. You know, I think he's
Polyface farm meaning.
That's the name of his farm.
The name
Oh,
of the farm.
Yep,
so
yep.
I was thinking
Yeah.
poly meaning plural. Like, yeah, okay.
No,
sorry.
the name of his farm is called Polyface. It's
Okay.
So he got appointed to advise the USDA,
Oh, cool.
which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
He's wrote a bunch of books, tons of books on regenerative farming.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried to consume as much of that as possible. And then I was in the office, like hating my life. And then just going back to the spiritual thing, the guy I sat next to had a plot of 5 acres empty in Loxahatchee.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, man, you hate it here. Why don't you just try and... I was talking about farming chickens. I was like, man, I'm going to farm some meat chickens. You know, I'm going to grow them out. He was like, dude, why don't you just quit and start the farm? So that's what I did.
Nice.
Yeah, just built some shitty brooders, which sucked. They were garbage. And then put 50 chickens on his land. And I was like, if I sell these 50 chickens, I'm going to do 150. And then...
Now, did chickens, you said sold the chickens, but did the chickens, were they for eggs as well?
No, this was a
So
this was
because
a
it's
meat
2 different
variety.
types of chickens,
Yeah.
right? Because the chickens who you use for meat, you don't use for eggs. Is that correct, or can you?
They'll lay eggs at 20 weeks, but you usually butcher a chicken at 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Well, there's also different breeds. So one aren't very meaty. They consume less food but lay more eggs.
Yeah,
So
I
to make
knew.
it
Yeah, I knew
to make
that
it
there was different
economically
yeah.
viable, you want to kind of. Otherwise, you're going to get a chicken that lays half the time. You could do a hybrid chicken in like some kind of homesteading situation.
Right.
Let them, grow out for a year or 2 and give you some eggs, and then end up butchering them and use them
Yeah.
as like a stewing hen. But for farming for a living, I think maybe people do it the other way. I haven't
No,
figured
but
it out.
it
But
sounds like it makes more
I
sense
separate
to have
the two.
designated.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you put a bunch of chickens out there. Did you have to put anything out there to protect them, or did you just have them in coops?
I had them in movable coops.
Okay.
So all the animals on the farm move every day. It's a concept called rotational grazing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. But when you rotate it, for one, you get a homogeneous disbursement of manure, which is what you want, right? And then it's also way healthier for the animal. So every day they get moved to new pasture, fresh grass, fresh bugs, and then that manure is left there. So you really don't need to vaccinate or medicate. I mean, chickens get sick sometimes, but so do humans.
Yeah.
And they pass a lot of that sickness. Some of them die, and I don't know. That's also a part that I accept.
I was meaning from like natural predators.
Yeah, coyote problems and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, I
So
had to
did
sleep
you
out there
have
when,
another animal out there to help? Because like the farms I like that are around my house and where my parents still live, they have a bunch of sheep, and so they have a llama.
Yeah, or a
Because
donkey.
sheep are dumb. Llama will like be more sensitive to a coyote or something coming and encourage the sheep to move. I know some farms have like, what's that dog? That type of dog.
Great Pyrenees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great Pyrenees. Did you have anything out there to help protect, or it's not? This is obviously not Florida, so I don't know what natural predators besides coyotes are around.
Coyotes, bobcats, possums.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there an eagle population around here? Because I know big birds will kill.
Chickens as well, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have eagles here. Maybe there are some. Like if you get further out
Because I heard
west.
of a guy who owned a regenerative farm or was starting one in Kentucky, and by doing so, the bald eagle I don't know if it was bald or
was in
golden
Georgia.
eagle.
Yes.
It was in Georgia.
Yeah, that's
came
why
back.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
And he was killing his chickens.
Yeah.
And it was a bald eagle because it's a federal crime to kill an eagle. So he's trying to he was setting off fireworks and stuff like
Yeah.
that, trying to deter the eagles because it was killing his chickens. But he had done so well that it brought them back.
Yeah, that's cool. You get all the...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's different ways you can go about it. You can make portions of your farm for wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, the eagle problem's an issue. You can get a goose.
Mm.
So if it sees a bigger bird down by your
Start-
birds, it might
It's like
deter
an
it.
alarm
I
system.
have a goose in with my laying hens,
Okay.
and I don't really have any predator issues.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. I didn't ever think of a goose.
Geese are mean.
Yeah.
No,
Super
they're
mean,
You
yeah.
did, I've heard of them.
Well, I've
as
heard that they're
guard
mean, but
dogs
I've
type
never
thing.
heard them being used on a farm.
Yeah.
I've heard more of, like I said, llamas or dogs. Yeah.
So no, that's pretty cool. So you 50 chickens and you were raising, these are meat chickens.
Yep.
And then you sold those and then you said 150 from there.
Yep. And then I would just drive 45 minutes from Deerfield to Loxahatchee and build a bunch of stuff myself. There was a well out there, but you had to run it with a generator. There was no electric. So I was just doing that for a while, solo.
Yeah.
How did that feel to you? Was that
awesome?
Like,
The best.
It's like that
Best.
struggle, but you're like, man, this is so cool.
No,
Yeah.
it's like it was just me out there and some power tools, like building big, I guess they're Joel Salatin style chicken tractors, he calls them, kind of 10 by 12 foot by 2 foot. It's like a mobile cage,
Okay.
I suppose, but it's about as pasture raised as you can get because you'll put the chick out at 3 weeks old and they're about the size of your fist. So any bird larger than that, like crows, I mean, any smart birds will tear them to pieces. So I know some people keep them in the brooder longer, but I don't. It's like a million different ways to skin the cat.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worked for me.
When you buy new chickens, so you had the 50, you sold them, then you want to get 150. Do you buy them as chicks or okay?
Yeah, day-old baby chicks. And
Okay.
I ship them in from Michigan.
Okay.
So the chick will consume the yolk, and then they don't need food or water for about 48 hours, so they can make it in the mail.
Wow.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I did not know.
You kind of huddle them together for warmth, and then as soon as they get to the post office, luckily I live right next to the post office, I'll drive up there, grab them, and then food, water, heat lamp is already in the brooder.
Okay.
Yeah, brooder's just a shanty little structure that I keep chicks in for 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when you chase your passion, crazy doors open.
Yeah.
So I needed more space. There was no electric up there. I was running out of land. I already had 150 birds on pasture, but there was probably only 3 acres of usable pasture. And there was a bunch of trees in the way, so I was trying to move these big, heavy mobile coops. And it was kind of a bitch. And then my ex-girlfriend's uncle knew a guy that had some land in Delray that didn't want anybody to build anything permanent on his land because he was trying to sell it. So I took a 3-year lease there, and it ended up, I think he was trying to sell it for $8.75 million, and I got $1 a year lease, which is like the bare minimum lease you can get. So like that door opened, I said yes, walked through it. It was an old abandoned nursery. It took tons of effort to clear it up. Then
Like plant nursery?
Yeah,
Okay.
but abandoned for years and years, like fully trashed. Cleared all that up, started regenerating the soil. We actually just probably, I have some photos of it being sand and then wood chips and now finally stuff growing.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's cool. This is like the only thing I've really been proud of in my life.
You know what?
Like graduating, master's degree, Wall Street, cares zero.
Yeah.
Zero. Even
Yeah.
the Marine Corps, like, okay, it was cool. It was like being a plumber, you know. Okay, I was a machine gunner for a little bit, you know.
Being a plumber.
But watching this grass grow from a sandlot to
Yeah.
nothing gave me more purpose and fulfillment than anything I've ever done.
I mean, you literally worked it with your hands. And
Yeah,
you're laying
yeah.
out all this stuff out.
And it took me months.
Yeah, it's creation.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
Like the creative part of it. Like
Right.
you're like putting energy into it and like moving stuff around and
Yeah.
getting your hands dirty. I mean,
Yeah.
it's building it from, dare I say, the ground up.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
Okay.
Nice.
But no, but seriously
Yeah.
though, that's what it is.
But yeah, so that came back nice. We actually have turkeys on that pasture now.
Wow.
So like a year and some change ago, you couldn't have anything on that pasture.
Right.
Nothing grew. It's just a sand lot.
Now
And now I can
turkeys,
sustain turkeys. You know, this is awesome.
are you going to use for meat?
Yeah, for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But we just had 60 get killed by coyotes.
60?
We had 81 only, so
Wow, 60?
Hi.
big hit
Coyotes?
for a small farm. Yeah.
Like over how much time did that happen?
One night.
One
One
night?
night?
How many do
Holy-
coyotes travel in packs?
Yeah,
Yes.
they pack up, but
Yeah.
I've only
who are
seen
these
them
guys?
like one at a time, and the coyotes in Kansas are all really scraggly. Like they're not.
That's like the
anyway.
Ocean's 11 hit of coyotes.
Yeah,
That's
it's,
crazy.
Yeah.
So
So I made a mistake. They were very small and they were getting through the typical. We have temporary electric netting. This is how everything moves. So all the layers are completely free range. They're just kept in temporary electric netting. We call those eggmobiles. Those are on trailers. I have a train of trailers that house a bunch of chickens, and it moves. So every 3 days I'll move all the netting, and then every day they move. Sorry, did I hit that?
You're fine.
So everything moves, and the turkeys were slipping through that.
Oh.
So I put them in a southern lot that was hard fenced, and then somehow they got in that hard
And then
fence.
they couldn't get
Yeah,
out.
so I was like, when they're
Yeah.
big enough, I'll put them back in the temporary.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going fly fishing, and then got a call like 2 days into it, like, hey, 50 turkeys. But it's a part of farming, right? Like, I got to learn.
Yeah.
It's not,
Makes you just
can't be
want to
perfect.
sit on the back porch with a little rifle, pick off some coyotes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm right next to Tierra del Rey.
Never mind.
That's where Mike Tyson lives, so I don't think they're going to, they already hate me. We could go into the county not wanting this. And
Really?
oh, yeah.
How's that?
That's like deep conversation.
The county doesn't want it. They don't. Why would that be?
So the deal with the guy was he gets ag tax, I get a cheap lease.
Yep.
Right? He can sell it whenever he wants, and I have 90 days to move. I said, fine.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy, but everything's mobile on the farm. The farm store's mobile. All the feed and water's mobile. Everything is mobile, right?
Okay.
I live in an airstream on the farm. Everything's mobile. Like,
Yeah.
I can pick it up and go. 90 days would suck, but I'd do it.
Yeah.
And I could probably find more land somewhere, right? Now that I'm connected with other farmers, like, somebody will lease me 10 acres somewhere. So the business doesn't die. So I said yes to that just to walk through the door. And he sold the northern lot to Tractor Supply. They're trying to concrete the world around here, you know?
Yeah.
Just GL homes and development everywhere. And it just can't stop. And that's who you're fighting against.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I put the brooder there January 7th. And they want the ag tax application in January 1st. So you think you call like the county department of ag and they're like, it's cool, dude, 6 days, like, we got you. No. So then it's not zoned for ag. It's zoned a vacant lot because it's been vacant for so long. Then code enforcement can come in and say, you can't have chickens, you can't have a trailer, you can't have piles of wood chips, you can't have anything there. And then they start charging you $1,000 a day for both lots. And then we have magistrate hearings. But crazy the way things work is I just told that guy he's a reptile and closed the gate on him. And then somehow the magistrate hearing got pushed back. And then there was like new ones that they got me for. The fence wasn't tall enough. I don't know, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then I had to like mow some patch of grass because the city didn't want to mow half of it, or I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's insane how hard they make it.
It's taking more
right?
effort for them to come up with stuff to
Yeah,
find
yeah,
you
yeah.
for.
So then they keep pushing it back and they keep
Yeah.
pushing. So they pushed it back so far. This is so crazy about at least local legislation, you know, how slow it works. They pushed it all the way back through January, and then I got the stamp this year. So it all dissipated.
Yeah.
So I sat on like $60,000 worth of fines for a whole year.
Yeah.
And it's so convoluted and fucked up. You just fucked yourself, and then.
Yeah.
So this is what all our tax dollars went for? What?
Yeah.
For what? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
That's awesome that it
it's
that it worked out.
but it's crazy how if you chase what you're supposed to be doing, it's like confirmation that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine trying to pick beef with a farm. Like, bro, grab some eggs, get you some of this honey, and go home.
Him and I ended up working it out. He's actually a good dude.
He's actually there.
But he came in hard, right? Like,
Yeah.
he wouldn't shake my hand. I was like, hey man, what's up?
Yeah.
I was about to let him on,
Yeah.
and he was like, let me give you a card. And I was like, dude, just shake my hand. He was like, no, here's a card. And I was like, all right, dude, we're closing the gates. Like, get off of the driveway. We can stand in the street. You know?
Now he's all about it.
No, yeah. Then we ended up, you know, you can't hold on to resentment, you know.
Yeah.
So then the next conversation we had after I got the ag tax, he ended up calling me and we worked it. He's actually a really nice guy. We had like a 2-hour conversation.
That's great.
That is good.
But crazy how things just work out. So, and then we just got 100 acres in Boynton Beach. Another crazy story. Like, kind of friend of the farm. I told her I was looking for land. She was like, oh, I water ski with these people. They have some land in Boynton. He ended up having a 1,500 acre regenerative ranch in Canada and has 300 acres on the corner of 441 and Boynton Beach Boulevard. He gave me an insanely cheap lease as well.
So will you populate both areas, or
Yeah, we're
is
working
the
on it now.
Boynton one more stable?
Nothing's stable.
Okay, so
GL's everywhere, right? GL Homes is everywhere
Yeah,
and
well, I
knocking on
mean-
people's doors, and I'm in the middle of a development deal now.
And a lot of people are coming down to Florida. Even more people are coming down here.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
you had the wave because of the virus that shall not be named, but then you also had the wave of the new mayor in New York City.
there's a lot of reason for
Yeah.
people to move down to Florida.
Yeah.
So it's not going to stop.
And I've heard a lot of snowbirds are going to stay now because it's not worth it to split time anymore.
Yeah, that's a big conversation. Which, you know, I don't know how some people do it. I have a lot of clients that live up there and down here, you know, so I only have them part of the year, but then you end up paying more taxes. Like if you stay one day longer, you pay the New York taxes. That's a wild conversation. I don't know why you would do that. But all that to say that, yeah, the battle is uphill with maintaining farm space.
In Palm Beach County, at least, yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is the place. Like they're not moving to Miami, you know?
So did you... so new land in Boynton Beach,
Yeah, we just
or is
signed
it
that lease
already
July
populated
1st.
with anything?
We have meat birds over there now.
Meat birds.
First
Okay.
things
Do you
we
always start with birds before you do cattle or
Yeah,
anything
because the
else?
soil's junk.
Okay. And
So-
birds. Okay. Yeah. Explain that.
Chicken manure very high in nitrogen fertilizer.
Okay.
So we like to put a layer of nitrogen fertilizer and then sprinkle wood chips over the top.
Okay.
So what's growing there can still grow. But I might have a picture. Somebody on the farm has the picture. We did a first pass along this lake at the farm, and we probably got 10 days worth of rain. And then the new grass that grew was significantly darker green than the grass that we didn't pass
that's
over.
cool.
And then we ended up reorienting the birds. And then that patch that we reoriented the birds is actually also light green.
Yeah. This
So-
may be a dumb question. When the birds go and they poop,
Yes.
do you then like rake it out to spread it out, or just naturally it's dispersed how it's going to disperse?
Disperse out, disperse.
It's like you guys stop pooping in the same place, like, you know.
No, I mean, it's
Okay.
It's not like concentrated or anything
Okay.
like that. I mean, maybe around feed trays, but
Okay.
not anything that I would rake out or anything like that.
Okay.
Just
So
let
there-
nature take care of itself.
So there's a process here. So chickens going first, and then that's how you like regenerate some grass.
If it's bare, like they just dug out the lake this year, so it's pretty much all like sand and shells and shale and some weeds.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind running chickens. It's not ideal to run chickens. You got to supplement them, which we have yet to do. Like I'll grow rosemary and pepper and things like this, and then supplement their feed. But it's not ideal. Really, you want good soil and good grass.
Mm-hmm.
So a chicken can't masticate a long piece of grass.
Okay.
So what you really want is there's a guy named Alan Savory of the Savory Institute. He's
which
in
I was going
Africa.
to ask you about. Yeah, I know the savory.
Okay.
That's how
so
that was my introduction.
Holistic grazing,
Yep.
right? So he's a guy that follows nature, and he said, okay, in Africa, rain comes, grass grows. The most, I'm gonna butcher this. I'll just say sugars because I'm not exactly sure what kind of sugar,
Mm-hmm.
but cattle need this energy, and it comes from teenage grass.
Okay.
So when grass gets all dry, it's like cardboard. I mean, they can eat hay, but the most energy obviously comes from the biggest expansive growth,
Right.
which isn't when it's a seedling, it's in the middle period.
Mm-hmm.
So rain comes in the Serengeti in a place called the Ngorongoro Valley. Wildebeest migrate towards that rain. They hit that teenage grass. It's also completely flat, so they can see predators coming from a distance, and in their massive herd, they're safe to calve. So after they leave a bunch of manure, and then what comes is a bunch of birds picking through their manure, and then predators come, right? This is the natural succession of things. So Alan Savory, and he might not be the first person. Alan Nation might have been doing it. I don't know. Joel's been doing it for 45 years. So if you have the sheep cut the grass, so then the chickens can, for one, it exposes the soil for more bugs. And then also they can masticate smaller pieces of grass and whatever seeds are left over. So you have a ruminant animal, disperse their manure, cut the grass, and then they move. Then in a 72-hour period, you can get all kinds of pesticides in the manure. So if the ruminant animal were to go back and eat by that manure, they can get things like worms and all kinds of parasites, right?
Interesting.
But what cleans the parasites?
Birds.
Birds,
Yeah.
chickens. So then chickens go through, scrape through that manure inside 72 hours, and now you have a much less parasite problem the next time you run those animals around, right?
This is wild.
Yeah. So there's a symbiotic relationship between birds and ruminant animals all over the globe. And these guys are genius. They were like, why don't we just do that on our farm?
Yeah.
And then also it really rebuilds the soil. So, sorry, am I messing this up?
Yeah. You're good.
So I get passionate.
Yeah. Let's see. That's why Dan has to put his away because his hands go.
Yeah, I got Puerto Rican all over the place. The mic.
Yeah, so there's this symbiotic relationship between everything, and you can mimic that on a farm. So I've tried to do that. My farm's a little bit too small. I don't have the right setup, but the big farm, we're really planning on doing that in a major way.
That's wild.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
know that.
super
I mean,
cool,
I
right?
knew
That's
that
like the
there was a
coolest thing I've ever heard.
relationship with birds and animals, but it was more like you see those photos of like wildebeest or buffaloes or whatever, and they have birds on them and it's picking off stuff, but I didn't think about it from the soil aspect.
So then if you have, say, like a paddy, it is going to kill all of that grass. And when they scratch through that, like chickens naturally scratch, it'll disperse that manure. So you get a more homogeneous layer of nitrogen. Then they also poop and then have their own manure.
Yeah.
So all of that goes back into the soil. This is how you get soil regeneration.
This is amazing.
You just need to put back more than you put out. So if you think about the way soil is built from like a worm's perspective, I heard a farmer talking about this. Leaf litter drops on its head and starts decomposing. So we can just speed that up by putting a big pile of wood chips. You don't have to wait 10 years for a tree to drop that much litter, right?
Yeah.
So that's where humans come in. By observing nature, we can just speed things up, but not change it, right? Not compartmentalize it, right?
Yeah.
We're only just adding more of what already nature does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You're
you're
not
taking,
hijacking the
you're
process.
taking nature to like kind of put into the natural process. You're not like, oh, I'm going to bring this plastic thing and put it in here.
Right.
And I mean, it's not going to get you the same result where you're regenerating soil and stuff like that. What about, like, if you think about it, I've heard this point made that the nutritional value of stuff we eat now is not it's not where it's supposed to be or where it was years ago, because the quality of the soil and a lot of the monocropping stuff is just degraded soil, and the nutrition doesn't go into the vegetables and the fruits that are being grown year round. It doesn't go in the same anymore because the soil is basically running low on nutrients to put into the plants.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So we talked about it earlier a little bit. We start with inert soil and then just add those 3 elements. But how many elements are we missing nutritionally for that plant to really grow healthy? We get a plant and it fruits, but what's in the plant?
Yeah.
You know?
Whatever was in the soil. So
Yeah.
it would say, like, let's say, I don't know, the vitamin C in a pepper from a monocropping farm isn't the same as something that you would grow through this regenerative process. Is that a stretch?
No, I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
I think there's the old saying, I have to eat 4 apples today than what my
exactly.
grandfather ate,
Yeah.
you know, in the 1930s.
So I think I really like that point, you know, and I've heard this said multiple times, but I think people need to hear that over and over. Like, hey, you know, when we start saying why should I care about regenerative farming, this is one of them. The quality, you think you're eating healthy stuff, but the nutrients that you're getting from that food are way less. The nutritional density of, you know, the example I just used is a pepper is way less than it was 40 years ago. And so forth, we might keep going until we have a pepper that isn't worth, it's just stuff you chew on and it's not giving you anything from it, because we've stripped the soil of this process of generating nutrients that go into the plant, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that's crazy. Like I think of it that way, but you're telling me that's not a stretch.
No, there's a guy that owns a orchard in Florida. He brought back Florida citrus regeneratively. You'd like him. He's real into the science, like really, really into the science. And he was saying his oranges have 8 times the amount of nutrients of a grocery store
That's
orange.
amazing.
8 times.
And this is something, I mean,
Squeeze citrus is called. Yeah.
Squeeze citrus.
Yeah, I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah,
But he's doing super cool stuff up there.
That's not a stretch. People might hear this and be like, "Oh, you're reaching, bro." Like, listen, the man just explained how the nutrients cycle into the plants and from the soil and how you put it back in there. If you're monocropping year round and you're growing vegetables or fruits or whatever out of season, and you're beating that soil up with this, you know, just to get a bunch of yield, it makes sense that it would be stripped of nutrients, right? You're going to run the soil barren at some point. You're going to turn that thing into a desert. I always think about, you know, the Europeans eat more seasonally than we do. Like, they eat certain fruits and vegetables during certain times of the year. And this is something that we're trying to explore. Like, and whenever I eat stuff that's in season, observational, anecdotal here, don't be like, show me the studies, Dan. Don't give me none of that. It's tastes better when it's in season.
Yeah.
It tastes better. It ripens normally. Like, it doesn't, you know, if I buy a peach out of season, it takes it 10 days to ripen.
Well, that's because
when I buy it in season, it goes whoop, a couple days, it's ready to eat, and it tastes delicious.
So it's either being forced to grow or they're buying it from somewhere where it is in season, so a different part of the world, but the travel time, and in order for it to handle that travel time, they either put something along the growing process to preserve it or they spray it with something to preserve it.
I mean, and like, listen, pears, peaches, avocados are another one. When they're not in season, they take forever to ripen. When they're in season, they kind of ripen at a reasonable amount of time, and they taste great. You know, what's the other? Oranges. Like, you know, I love me some friggin' mandarins, but when I'm eating them out of season, they don't have the same hit. Like, it just doesn't taste the same. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Well, and it's optimal for us to eat things seasonally because a lot of nutrients compete in our body for absorption. So if we eat the same thing all the time, or if you supplement, for example, zinc competes with copper for binding, which can affect iron absorption. So if you take zinc all the time, you're not allowing copper. Same thing needs to happen with our food. We need to give a variety so our body can absorb things optimally and things don't compete and take over. So then you become deficient in something, even though you are intaking
and
it.
You need different nutrients during different times of the year. Like, you know, if it's winter, you're going to need something that helps you with the vitamin D type of thing. Yeah. So it makes sense. But yeah, I noticed that in a couple things every time we've traveled to Europe that I noticed. One, they're smaller. The fruits are smaller. Two, they all have seeds in them. Every apple, every grape, they all.
It's going to be more. Apples always have seeds, but
they're not genetically modified.
Thank you. Yes. So we were saying that a couple episodes ago. Be like, hey, what in nature, if you pick an apple from a tree or an orange or whatever, which one doesn't come with seeds? It makes no sense. You know what I mean? So whenever, seedless grapes, they're great. They're organic though. Yeah, right. You know, so it's. I guess what I'm trying to get at here, that people need to like pay attention to this, because the quality of your food is going down and down and down, even though it might be quote unquote organic. That's label's been hijacked and bastardized to a point that it's beyond recognition right now. It's straight FUBAR with that one. What do you make of that? Like the way
seasonally?
Eating seasonally and the way you kind of structure your farming and that sort of thing. Because I mean, it's a lot of work. Like obviously, it'd be easier to just spray some stuff and throw some seeds, not move them.
It's management intensive, but then you have low inputs. I don't really know a vet, right? No vaccine, no medication. Mm-hmm. So it's low input and then high output. But you have a really nutritionally dense product that you can sell for a little bit more, especially around here. Mm-hmm. So it's like, either you pay the doctor or you pay your farmer, right?
Ooh. Woo! Pay the doctor or pay the farmer. Let's go.
But seriously, right?
That's a soundbite.
If it's the right farmer. Yeah. If it's the right farmer, right? Yeah. And what I mean by right farmer, I'm not telling you I'm the right kind of farmer. Come to my farm. It's completely transparent. If you find a bottle of chemicals, it's news to me. Yeah. You can look around. I'll let you go in the eggmobiles. I'll let you go wherever you want. You can do your own research as consumers in the United States. Like, we don't need the FDA to tell us what's healthy. Yeah. You can come to my farm and see the grass growing and put your hands in the soil and look at the health of the chickens. And I think there's something innate, or maybe I'm just lost my mind and I live on the farm now, but I think there's something innate in seeing a healthy animal and being like, I would eat the egg from that animal.
That's what I always say. So, and I was just having this conversation because I had a follow-up with my surgical oncologist because I had melanoma and had to have it removed. And him and I were talking about, he was in the Bahamas and he was talking about how there was a bunch of morbidly obese people and how he's not trying to shame. And I'm like, but no, I've said this before in this podcast, we have eyes for a reason. If we see someone who's morbidly obese, if we see a strawberry that's pink, not red, if we see an animal that looks sickly, it's not that we're shaming it. It's like, something clicks, something's wrong, something's not healthy, right. It's not optimal. And so thank you for saying that, because it's not any different. We aren't meant to be morbidly obese. Animals aren't meant to be scrawny and skinny, and we're forcing them to produce things for us. Fruits and vegetables aren't meant to not have seeds to not be able to carry on their production. And so...
Yeah, you see cows, like this is Portugal, for example. I told Janie, we drove all over Portugal. And their cows look very different than the cows that we're used to seeing back here. And I grew up, my father's a surveyor, and so was his father. So I grew up on farms, like surveying farms and things like that. And, I've seen a lot of cows, a lot of pigs for food, that sort of thing. And when I see like a conventional cow, and then you go to Portugal and see one of their cows, and these things are like roaming around the countryside and eating this grass, they look more muscular. They just, the coat on them is a little bit more vibrant. And I'm like, man, these cows look different. I really wanted to get out of the car and take a picture of one of them, and just so I could, side by side this thing.
But it also
when
depends on what the cow's being used for with how they'll look.
No doubt. Yeah. But if you go to a farm and you experience that, like your body's gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
Be like, yep, this feels right. It feels different. The way the grass is growing, the way the animals are moving. Yep. You look at the egg, it's like, man, it just feels different. You crack the egg. Yep, it looks different. Oh, it tastes different. Raw milk, raw cheeses, raw butter, they taste completely different. And that's something where people start, they think that we're exaggerating these things, but seeing an operation like yours in it, it almost speaks to your soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, hey, this is the right way. This is natural. This is the right way to do business. Your body needs this, not, clear the plot of land, flatten it out, put the factory for impossible meat on
I think there's also a psychological reason. When you go to a regenerative farm, there's a lot of biodiversity. Mm-hmm. I can't even tell you how many different grasses and weeds on my farm. I'm just learning now as I go through these seasons, right? I've only been doing it a couple of years. So I'm just learning now how many, and there's so many. So I think there's almost a psychological, I don't want to call it a trick, but there's something psychological going on. But like when you step into nature, how calm you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And there's tons of diversity.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you go to a farm like this, there's tons of diversity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was up at Will Harris's farm, White Oaks Pastures in Georgia.
I was going to ask you if you knew them.
Yeah. I've met Will a few times. Yeah, he's a cool
Nice,
guy.
yeah.
Super cool guy. Yeah, he's like Michael Jordan.
I think he was my first exposure to it because I heard him on a podcast. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, he speaks very eloquently with his southern drawl. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Yeah, it was a trip to meet that guy. So anyway, I stayed in one of the cabins in he has like a pine forest that he leaves a pine forest. He's not farming it. Mm-hmm. He does this all over the farm to harbor wildlife because he wants the biodiversity.
Mm-hmm.
He's really doing some mimicry with nature up there. It's really cool. And there was some wild blackberries growing, and I had zero issue grabbing and eating that.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like I should do this because of the color of it, and it was ripe, and I was like, yes, this makes sense to me. So I think the same thing when you go to a farm with this biodiversity, it's like it just makes sense. You're like, oh, there's grass growing here. Chickens are eating these grass and bugs, and
which eating a blackberry off a wild bush is a completely different feeling than pulling it out of the plastic little thing. You know what I mean? And eating that, it's like, oh, it's kind of bland. No, you eat a wild blackberry. That's a feeling. That years ago, this was up in the Northwest. And when I was a cadet, and we were like ruck marching in the middle of nowhere in Fort Lewis, and we ran into blackberry bushes. So I had that experience of picking a blackberry off the bush. I'm like, man, that's...
I'd just be scared of bears.
Oh, but there's too many of us because this is a whole unit of people out there. But for bears to be out there, but yes, we were far enough into the wilderness where we could have experienced bears. But free roaming blackberry bush, right up the way God made it, like pick that thing out and be like, man, that's something different.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, to speak about the seasonality, I don't think I answered that question. I guess I asked myself the question, why do we need to eat pineapple in Minnesota in the middle of the winter? What is the purpose biologically? Just because we live in the United States and we have to have whatever we want whenever. I need pineapple in December in Minnesota. Like, why? Maybe you should be eating salty canned goods and fats and stuff.
It doesn't taste the same either. And then we could get into the microbiome, the gut microbiome diversity of people that live in colder climates versus the people that live in the tropics, where you're almost not meant to carb up that much if you're in the cold like that. It should be more fattier, stewier, heartier type of thing, whereas the tropical people eat a leaner, more fruit heavy type of diet. There's a lot of theories with that, but you're right. I mean, first of all, the pineapple's not going to taste the same in the middle of the winter in Minnesota. It's just not. Then when you get it in the summer when it's meant to grow. We could argue about the nutrients in it. Are you getting the bromelain and all the stuff that you would get from a pineapple when it's grown out of season? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe very low levels.
How is it being grown
to get it to
meet the production?
Yep, to meet the production.
Out of season.
There's also Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, like all these questions. Is it worth getting pineapple in the middle of the winter, December, just so you can say you have it?
Yeah.
You know?
We know that you pointed at this earlier. The travel time also decreases nutrition.
Yep.
It's like the eggs I gave you, I think, are probably safely inside 48 hours.
Yep.
So if you leave those for 3 weeks, transportation from the farm into a Whole Foods warehouse, or I guess it's Amazon now, Amazon warehouse, and then into more transportation, and then to the Whole Foods store, and then it sits on the shelf. You're buying something that's way less new.
Yeah.
So I think this is a reason to buy locally
Yes.
and buy often,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, so that's one thing we have observed in Europe, where people are shopping every day for their dinner, right? In Porto, that little corner store right across the street from our place, I was in there just getting fruit for the evening for us, and there are people buying their dinner stuff, but only their dinner stuff, where in the U.S. it's like,
I'm going to go to Costco and buy for the next month.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know? And not only that, like they have a regional food model where, you know, the farms in the area kind of support these certain locales, and
they
then
don't
that
have-
farms over there support these locales. But here you could have a farm in, I don't know, Iowa, and you're trying to feed people in LA.
their grocery stores aren't complete like they are in the U.S. Like you go in the grocery stores there, and they'll have produce, dairy, boxed or canned goods, but then you have to go to the butcher to get the meat.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's the grocery store. The only meat they have in the grocery stores is dried meats.
But that sounds so inconvenient, Janie.
Yeah,
it's so
everything's about
inconvenient.
convenience.
Yeah,
annoying.
we've kind of explored this thing. I think we had an episode on it.
Yeah, it's because
How convenience is kind of killing us.
Yeah.
You know,
Killing our
we're-
culture.
it's
it's killing it.
well,
Yeah.
I use the Pac-Man analogy. Did you ever play Pac-Man?
Yeah.
Okay, I know you're younger than us, but just making
okay.
sure. But you know, when you go all the way to the right, you'll come out on the left.
Yes.
Right? And so convenience is great in some regards, right? Like we don't have to walk down to a river to get water every day, right? It's convenient now but water in a plastic bottle, is that too convenient, right? Because now what are we causing? So we're going so far in convenience, now we're coming back to where it's actually going to cause us more work in the back end.
My tinfoil hat tells me it's by design, but it definitely, if you don't want to go that deep, just understand that when things are too convenient, it almost makes you, it handicaps you in a way. You know what I mean?
You don't have to leave your house now.
It's Uber Eats, everything, Instacart, everything, you know, and whereas having a relationship with your food, like, hey, I'm going to go to this farmer's market and buy from this guy that grew these oranges or whatever, or this guy that gives me the raw dairy, or this guy that made this butter or made this honey. There's a different feeling to that. You know what I mean?
I went to Sprouts last night, and the lady was like, I remember you. I was like, yes.
You know, I mean, and like we we buy a lot of fruit at the Boys. That's usually, I just go there to get fruit. And it's different. You know, one of the owners, he like knows me, so he hands me a melon. He knows I like the melons. So he's like, hey, and he knows he can touch them and tell you this one's ready. So he like that's how our relationship started. So I'm like, hey, Mike the melon guy. And guess what? Is it convenient for me to go to Sprouts and not buy any produce? First of all, the produce over here is way better than the produce over there. Sorry, Sprouts. Y'all got to step your game up. You're not picking produce like my guy at the Boys. But
He cares.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just
That's
about
it.
money,
That's
right?
it.
Yes.
That's
It's
it.
like livelihood. That's how he feeds his children.
Yes.
He cares.
Right.
Exactly. And you know, this place, the entire family works there. Like one of his nephews, I know him from, because I used to work at Lifetime. He used to go there. So now I'm like, oh, I didn't know you were related to these guys. Then the other guy, he was telling me about his weight loss journey. That's another nephew. It's a family thing, right?
Yeah.
And his brother, he sells wine, and it's a whole family thing. But it's funny because it's not convenient for me to go there. But guess where we go to get the freaking produce?
Yeah.
There, because I walk in and this guy comes into me like, hey, here you go. Good to see you. Here's your melon.
Or
You
we'll
know?
be looking at something. He's like, no.
That too. He'll tell you. He's like,
That's
these,
awesome.
these
Yeah.
peaches aren't good. I got them from
Yeah.
some other place. They're not that great. But these cherries are a better pick right now.
So he's honest and you have human connection.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's completely lost in most grocery stores.
Yes.
There's a faceless person that maybe wants to be there, maybe doesn't, checking you out. You have no idea where it came from. You have no idea where it was transported. You have no idea how it was packaged. And if you want to go to the farm to see where it was grown, you can't.
Yep.
It's all secret and you're going to get met with security. Drive down 441. See the big gates.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the name of the farm. I got some friends that work there, but you know.
That
You got to
that
get through
is-
security. You can't even go to the farm to see
No,
where your
that's wild
stuff
to
is
see
grown.
how the food is-
and
Oh, I
it's
didn't-
sold at the Publix next door.
No.
I didn't. Come on now.
What's going on?
They don't
Why are
want you
not
to see all
showing
that
us?
glyphosate drones and spraying all over the place.
Yeah.
The conversation around glyphosate, that people don't think it's a big deal.
Have you looked into that? Glyphosate?
Yeah, I've read a few studies.
Yeah.
Really, that last one,
didn't
that
mean to cut you
internet.
off. I'm
No,
sorry.
but I'm saying
Yeah.
no. That's a good point, because that last one, that international one, I guess is from Italy, was
Mm-hmm.
the one, and we talked about it on an episode here where they're linking this thing to all sorts of cancers. Now it's on paper.
Yeah.
Like, for the people that don't want to take the anecdotal and the observational and all these thousands of observational things that people are like, they sprayed that, I got the cancer because I was working next to this thing, whatever. Now it's on paper. Now it's a scientific research. Boom, here it is, glyphosate and cancer.
I wonder, because they used to do pesticide of farms via plane, right? Was that pesticides?
Yeah.
Yes.
They would
Yeah, they would.
shower down?
Yep.
Now
I
they do
wonder
it with
what
drones.
that was.
They
Now
just
they
did
do
it here
drones?
with mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I got some kind of notification. I was like, hey, I got a bunch of animals outside. Like, can you not?
Yeah. But it's very convenient to kill off weeds, but I guess it's a sensitive relationship with weeds, like you said, because they tell you something, but they can also crowd out what you're actually trying to grow. And so what do you do to control weeds on your farm? Or do you not have that issue right now?
I don't have that issue because sheep eat probably 50% weeds, 50% grass.
So you use sheep. Okay.
But where we grow, we did a small garden this year with squash and tomatoes and basil and a few other things, but just really for the farm. I didn't even sell any of it. But we would weed that.
You would what?
You would
weed the beds.
You
Manually.
manually
Okay.
weed. Hey, it's work.
Or cover it with wood chips.
Yeah.
But then I've heard some people say that wood chips strip the nitrogen from the soil, but listen.
It's better than spraying Roundup.
Yeah, I put a bunch of wood chips out and like random things started growing. Tomatoes, like we'll feed the chickens compost. Like the tops of tomatoes and things. And there'll be a seed in there and then a tomato will randomly grow. Like in the middle of the wood chips. So
Yeah.
from what I see, I haven't done any research on this, so don't quote me on it, but stuff grows in nature. Like nature does crazy things, right? Like weeds grow in cracks of cement.
Yep.
Nature doesn't want any bare soil, by the way. It wants to regulate its own carbon cycling
Okay.
via plants, right?
I never thought of it like that.
So grass sequesters more carbon than trees.
Okay.
Yeah.
So grass sequesters more carbon than trees. That's interesting.
The cool thing about regenerative farming is you're on both sides of the political spectrum. So whether or not you believe in global warming or not, if you are on the left and you do believe in it, then you want more regenerative farms. And if you want more people having access to food and freedom and you're on the right, then you want regenerative farms.
Yeah.
So I get this like eclectic mix of people, and sometimes I'm like, fuck, I hope they don't meet, you know? And then they start like vibing over clean
Yeah.
food, and I'm like,
But
This is nuts.
that's the whole thing,
right? So
Oh,
maybe
man.
the food can bring us together. Seriously.
go.
Seriously.
Well, if you lay out a bunch of good food on a table, people usually tend to get along. You know what I mean? Because we all want the same thing. We don't
Yeah.
want to be sick.
Yes.
This is why the health conversation, like
important.
this shirt that I'm wearing right now,
Yeah.
is it pisses people off. I'm like, how does this piss you off?
Because you trying to make things healthier is going to cause people to starve.
I mean, that retarded argument, retarded. That like we're beyond. It's retarded. So I wear a "Make America Healthy Again" shirt. I care about everybody. I didn't say make white people healthy again. I didn't say make rich people healthy again. I said make everybody. You're here. I want you to eat better food from
Yes.
a regenerative farm like Jake's here. Get that great egg. Get some. Get the good stuff. I want it for everybody. So it makes sense that we would all come together over it, and it doesn't have to be a political thing,
Right.
But no, people want to mess, it becomes a thing. Oh no, that doesn't agree with me. I want the impossible meat or
Yeah.
whatever.
And I appreciate, do you have any, so you said you have sheep.
Yes.
Do you have any livestock, like large animals?
No, not right
No.
now.
Do you plan on doing
Yeah, the soil has to be a lot better for grass and cattle.
For
Way
cattle.
better.
Okay.
I'm like a couple years off.
What about pigs?
Pigs we could do, but I think Palm Beach County has a problem with it, and I just need to set up the new farm before I do it.
Okay. My stepfather, who's my father, he grew up on a pig farm. So I'm always
nice.
curious about that. And going back to Portugal, we had black ham,
Yeah, that black ham.
black ham, because the pigs had a huge diet of acorns.
Oh, that's super
So the
cool.
ham was fattier and
yeah.
darker in color. It was really good.
Tasted completely
Yeah.
different too.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I just figured you'd appreciate that. But
Going back to the chemical thing, I heard a farmer saying the other day, if your agricultural industry is dependent on chemicals, you don't have an agricultural industry, you have a chemical industry.
That,
So I think there's a bigger issue at play here that not too many people are talking about. And chemicals are in everything.
Yep.
In all of our clothes, in our water, in our feed, or in our food. Sorry, feed. I have to think about livestock feed. Also probably in livestock feed.
yeah,
Even though I try and go, non-GMO. But
skin products.
I mean, it's in everything, right? So I don't know. We're talking about fixing the food system and giving more to regenerative farmers and all of this stuff, but I think we kind of got to tear that down. Like, I've read a study recently that house moms are the number one candidate for certain kinds of cancer in the United States because of the
believe
amount
it.
of chemicals in the home.
Yep.
Candles. The
Air
pans,
fresheners,
air
cans,
Like, how do we get away
plastic.
from that? I'm
Hand
all for eating
sanitizers.
cleaner,
Yep.
but also, can we just get rid of some chemicals? Like,
Yeah.
I have Castile soap and vinegar on the farm. That is it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Then people need to like really focus, listen to this, because first of all, it's not like we didn't have an alternative to clean stuff before. Like finding out, was mind blowing to me. Like wood cutting boards, like wood is natural bacteria killer. So when you use a wooden cutting board and you set it out, the bacteria on it die quicker
Oh, that's cool.
than they would on a plastic cutting board.
And then every time
Wha-
you cut with a plastic, little shavings of plastic
Yeah,
come
exactly.
off.
So you're in little
Yeah.
shavings of plastic are coming off. So why did they get us into plastic cutting boards to begin with? Because they told you it was more hygienic, right?
Okay.
And
yeah.
this is
Easier
how
to
they
clean.
they're easier to clean. It's more hygienic than the wood one. But turns out that
And it's more
naturally,
convenient because to clean a wooden cutting board, you have to clean it, then spray it down with vinegar, and then seal it with mineral oil. And
Yep.
yeah.
but it turns out that the option that we already had for Lord knows how long was better, right? And we're not ingesting plastic, and it naturally kind of disinfects itself because of the freaking wood. Like that's amazing. So going back to the chemicals and everything, cancer through the roof, all sorts of cancer. People are getting cancer younger and younger. I can't stress this enough. And then when you say, hey, we got a lot of chemicals going on, maybe we want to like tone that crap down. People are like, no, oh my God, look at this guy. He's a freaking tree hugger, conspiracy,
Yeah.
whatever the name comes to mind. But I think, you're onto something. It's true. There's a lot of stuff that is inadvertently poisoning us.
It's a cultural issue. So we get E. coli, and then we have to freak out and panic. Or we get a COVID, and we were like, we need alcohol sanitizer everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what? Like, I literally touch chicken manure every day. I haven't been sick in 2 years.
Yeah.
I touch the soil. Yes.
Well, you're seeing now that, what was it? I don't even think they identified what virus it was, but it wasn't COVID, but people are getting hit hard with it this last end of winter, spring, because I firmly believe that we over sanitized during COVID, and between masks, sanitizers, being isolated, we kind of lost just
You killed immune
natural
function.
immunity.
You
Yeah.
killed people's immune function was dampened to, by that lack of exposure. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, now I'm not going to go there. We'll save that
So I do
conversation
want to say
for
something
another.
about toxins around us. I say this every podcast. Human body's amazing. We need to support it instead of trying to work against it. Now, we've always been exposed to toxins, right? Just whatever. But now it's overloaded. And I don't think people realize how much toxins they ingest in a day. If you have a Glade air freshener, that's toxins. If you perfume, if your shampoo, whatever you're using is not natural, those are toxins.
Stuff in plastic.
You drink your little Starbucks, guess what? Inside of that paper cup is plastic lined. If you heat up your food in plastic.
You cook in a Teflon pan.
Yes, all this stuff, it overloads the body. And then if what our body needs to be able to metabolize and detox everything is quality food that has nutrients like antioxidants and things like that. Well, then if our soil's crap and our foods don't have that, now the body's not able to detox the overload of the burden we're putting on it. And so we just have to be careful, because a lot of people are sensitive and they can get overwhelmed because they're like, I have to cut out seed oils. I can only buy from a farm. I can't use plastic anything. And it's like, we're not saying you need to do all that at once, but move the low-hanging fruit first, okay? If you can stop, if you can switch out your plastic for Pyrex, awesome. If you can start shopping at a local farmer's market, even like I told you before in a prior podcast, if it's like, hey, I'm just going to get this week's vegetables because it's expensive, so I'm not going to buy everything. If you can just start to move the needle to decrease the burden, I think you will see positive.
Yeah, no doubt. And like, this is to create awareness, because
Yeah.
I'm sure people are going to listen. They didn't even know that farms like yours, which, by the way, name of your farm.
Well, I guess I'm going through a rebranding, but right now it's Lodato Farms.
Lodato?
Lodato.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
because
the
I've
new
been
farm.
telling
we
a
brought
lot
on
of
some
people-
investors and some partners and trying.
Lodato.
it-
How do you
doing it
spell
big.
that?
LAUDATO Farms.
LA.
What does that mean?
So that was Saint Francis. Saint Francis was like the patron saint of the environment. He like left the Pope. I'm not Catholic, but some of my Catholic friends told me this. They were like, "Hey, that's like you." Anyway, he wrote this manifesto about the environment, and he left being a pope and like a life of luxury to essentially live in the woods and steward the land.
Nice.
So they
Nice.
were like, "You should call your farm that
Lodato.
because you left hedge fund land and did the same thing."
I like that.
Which that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You go from Marine Corps to hedge funder to farmer.
Yeah.
That's a crazy
Life's
circle
a
of
trip
life.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah,
Life's
that's a
a
crazy
trip.
circle
Yeah.
of life.
Jiu-jitsu the whole way. That was the only thing consistent
Yeah,
in my life.
so we forgot to say this.
yeah, we
So
didn't mention jiu-jitsu.
a couple of days ago, Dan got his brown belt.
Hey.
And Jake is a brown belt, right?
Yeah.
You're a brown belt? Yeah. And so
The-
we wouldn't be us if we didn't talk about jiu-jitsu a little bit. So
Yeah, funny how, so the way I met Jake was at Pulga's on Friday, which is like okay, if you don't know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's like, Pulga's feels like Brazil, because it's like a hallway, you know, and there's mats on the side, and the bathrooms are, so you got to take your shoes off to go across the mats to go to, it's weird, but it's a hallway, and it's hot. And then Pulga's got the freaking Brazilian freestyle playing. So, and you know, it feels like Brazil. Like if I were to go roll in Rio or Manaus or one of these legendary jiu-jitsu places, that's what I'm expecting. So, you know, we rolled, and then I'm rolling, and then I hear you talking about, somebody asked you about some eggs or something, and you're giving them the spiel on the land and stuff. I'm like, whoa, I like this conversation.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was almost like a chance meeting, because I told Janie, you know, we have a health coaching business, and education and all this stuff around actual health. And a lot of what we want to promote is getting back to the way things were in certain regards. Like, no, I'm not saying that you should get rid of your car and your cell phone, although you might not want to put that thing to your head, and you might want to put it in a freaking Faraday bag for a couple minutes a day, whatever. But I'm saying, you know, getting our farming right to look, you know, way less chemicals than they're putting in the stuff, because here we are with all this uncontrolled autoimmune disorders, and people are like, oh, I don't know why we're so sick. Okay, let's talk about it. You know, the food is all messed up. So, but I told Jane, I was like, man, I think our brand is more, you know, we're not yoga and mimosas, I say, like that's not really, we're more like farmers markets and regenerative farming, and, you know, and being outside and kind of getting as natural as you can. And then boom, this is where I like literally talked about it a couple days, and then I'm over here and I hear the conversation. I'm like, holy crap. Like, God, just whoop, here you go, man.
yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, he called me on his way home. He's like, I have a present for you. And I was like,
Oh, I
did
brought
he
the honey
stop
and the
somewhere?
eggs, yeah.
He brought eggs and honey. And I'm like, I mean, I
Did you guys try it?
Yeah. Oh no, the
Yeah,
honey's
good,
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the eggs were like, you know, we had the regular cage-free eggs that you buy
Sure.
at Sprouts, and then it's like, yeah, let's eat these eggs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
It's a
crazy.
different experience.
No doubt.
I think we're going to do a future podcast episode on eggs, because I have a visceral reaction when people are like, I can't eat eggs. It'll raise my cholesterol. I'm like, it's not true. anymore. There was propaganda that it did raise your cholesterol, but it's been disproven. But everyone needs to eat eggs because choline is so underrated.
Acetylcholine. I mean, it's a
No, just choline
neurotransmitter.
is
Even
found in
just the
yolks.
way your brain communicates with your body is regulated by that.
No, it's the difference. It was choline, not acetylcholine.
Well, but I'm saying it helps
Yeah.
with that. So it's selenium, you know, like all these things in eggs that if it's not there, you're not having that. You're kind of missing out.
So it's interesting how a chicken can eat manure and then produce an egg that's just, I call it like nature's little vitamin bomb, right? And then people who are anti-meat because of how it treats the animals, the farming process and things like that, won't even pay any mind to regenerative farming. Some of them won't because they just think like you should not kill animals at all. But we can't consume and metabolize grass and get the nutrients the same way that a ruminant animal such as a cow can. And if you're okay eating eggs or eating fruit, which the tree processed everything to then produce this fruit, meat's not different. So it always frustrates me. So have you had any, I guess, communication with people who are very against you farming animals for any reason?
There's like a lady named Lisa in the community, and she calls animal control every 2 weeks.
Oh.
It's like a running joke with them now. Every complaint is they don't have food, shade, or water.
Okay.
So like, how would I sell anything if they just all died? If they had no food, no shade, no water, and 100-degree temperatures.
Yeah.
It's actually the opposite, right? They're actually like really happy and like running around and hanging out with their friends and eating bugs and grass. But except for that, I've had really positive feedback on people that were vegetarians, didn't want to eat meat because of the quality, and then come to the farm and see how they're raised. And then now they're like a bunch of convertees at least.
Yeah.
Or they'll at least eat like a chicken breast or a chicken tender or something like that. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's hard to argue with the fact that you're meant to eat this stuff, eggs, beef, all that sort of thing. The nutrition that you miss out if you opt on not eating that. But, you know, also I can see people holding out because of the quality of the stuff or they're concerned about how it's raised, which we should all be concerned with that. And I mean, my sincere hope is that, you know, projects like yours, that they grow to a level where you can sustain a region on properly grown food, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have access to it, which I'm sure that will kind of control the price in some way where it's like, hey, I have this volume of product that I can sell it at this price and feed more people and still be a sustainable business, you know, because you love it, but you obviously have to be sustainable for yourself as well.
100%.
You know, that makes sense.
It's rough.
So takeaway for people here, like what do you want to leave people with? I mean, you got very interesting chapters of your life, and we didn't even go down the military rabbit hole. Maybe future podcasts, because I'm sure people will have questions and we'll have to bring you back.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We should do and I can either sit out or just be an observer in it, but like you, Mike Pugh, some other military guys, you guys can just all
Brovet health.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
you
let's
got
do it.
like
Yeah.
get blown up, get all messed up
That'd be
in the
cool.
military, how you got healthy again type of thing.
has Pugh gone to Pulgas?
Ooh, no, he hasn't been to Pulgas
So
yet.
do you know
but-
Mike Pugh?
No, I don't think he does. But Pugh's he's another guy that we used to train with at Killcliff. He goes around the circuit in schools.
Okay.
But yeah, he's a Army guy. But no, it's obviously we didn't get into like the emotional roller coaster when you leave the military and then you're trying to find what to do and find purpose again and that sort of thing. And, you know, how jujitsu came about and all that. But, you know, you have chapters in your life like that. And I feel like all of that probably plays a part in what you do now. Now, what do you want to leave people with when we talk about farming, life, finding purpose, all that sort of thing?
Ooh.
Wow.
I would say everything that you've already done in your life is going to gear you for what you should be doing. So just go do that thing. That's what I did.
It integrates.
And doors
all of
open
that,
and
yeah.
people help you out. And I don't know. I don't really think about it as a risk,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
If
Just like spent all my savings on a farm in Palm Beach County. It's almost impossible to farm down here. I just did it. Like moved into a trailer and live off of whatever I live off of now. Nothing.
And you
know?
feel more fulfilled and happier than when you were working for a hedge fund, and I'm assuming you had like a pretty nice apartment
Yeah,
or
yeah,
house or
Boca,
whatever.
ridiculous house. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Way more fulfilled, less stuff, more connection to the land. Oof. There's something about growing a plant and then having it fruit and eating that plant. There's a spiritual connection with you and the earth directly, especially if you do it without chemicals.
Yep.
I mean, even if you do, I mean, I'm not condoning doing it with chemicals, but just go grow something.
Yeah.
I think we need to get back to this. You know, it's something prior to World War II, after all the petroleum, this is where the advent of conventional farming came about, right? From all of the leftover petroleum turning into chemicals, or at least nitrogen fertilizer. But I lost my train of thought there, but we've got to get back to, it was something like 80% of the households in the United States grew their own food, or at least 50% of their own
Which
food.
I remember my
Right.
grandparents having aloe vera and a couple things. growing in the
Everybody had a
backyard.
garden. You know,
Yeah.
my grandmother grew up in London, in the city. She said some tiny little plot. They grew like tons of vegetables. They were on rations, but they grew tons of stuff in this. We're talking like a tiny little square box. So I just think more people should grow your own food. Put your hands in the dirt.
Right? Yeah,
Touch the grass with your bare feet. You know.
literally touch grass, as the
Yes,
kids would
yes.
say. I mean, they're saying it to deprecate people, but your body needs that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
100%.
You know, and you could get into grounding and all sort of things. So there has to be a connection there. Like eating isn't really just you putting something that makes you move your jaw and makes your stomach feel full. There has to be a connection there to like for nourishment.
I think you got to experience it.
Yep.
You know, like I had a guy from Trump's administration. I don't know if he wants me to say his name, but he was on the farm. I just got connected with him through a guy that does. He works with PragerU. I don't know
Okay.
if you guys are familiar with that.
Yep.
Anyway, they're members of the farm, and he said since he got appointed, he's been in D.C. back and forth, and he hadn't had any genuine connection with his kids. And I just let him grab an egg from underneath a chicken with his 2 children. He was like, he's been texting me for 3 days.
That's wonderful.
He had
And
a
all I
moment.
did was say, hey, go grab an egg from a
Yeah.
chicken. You know, it's like we're that far disconnected.
Yes.
You know, where you can't have a connection with your children unless you get back to nature. And it was so easy for me to do, right?
Yeah.
Doing it every day. Do it with tons of people every day.
Yeah.
So that was kind of I would say, you know, get out to a farm or in nature or something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
So I've come to this conclusion, and I firmly believe it because, you know, Dan and I are, we started like going back to church, and we're doing a lifestyle ministry within our church, which we're really excited about. Maybe I can talk to you about some
Sure.
potential things with that.
Yeah.
But if whether you believe in evolution, you believe in God, I'm not telling you what to believe. But there is something about the way this earth was prepared for us and how far away we've gotten from it. But everything we need to survive and flourish and be happy is God-given. Why do we love looking at a sunrise or sunset? It's beautiful, but why is it beautiful? Why is it across the board people think a sunrise and sunset is beautiful? Is it because it gives us red light and we need that? Weird. Okay. Why does touching the ground feel good? Why does spending time in nature feel good? Why do the Japanese promote forest bathing? Because it feels good, because everything we need is there. We need to stop trying to hijack the processes and thinking we as humans can do it better than either God or evolution.
It's laid out. It's laid
And
out.
just get back
like
to
the
it.
code is right there in
Yeah.
your face, right there, right, boom, right in front of your face. It's a code. You know, he's regenerating soil with natural stuff, and you're doing it in sandy plots of land in South Florida, and then boom, it has yield. So this idea that, oh, you know, we got to farm it this way because if not, nothing's gonna grow. I'm not buying that.
And you're just going to make Beyond Meat in a factory?
And you're gonna replace this with that. Like, I'm not buying that, man. Like,
Yeah.
you've done it multiple times in different plots of land. Yeah, it takes a little bit, but if we get more people doing what he's doing,
Yeah.
Way smarter people can probably figure it out a lot faster than me.
exactly.
Like if I can dump some wood chips and manure and grow some stuff, like trust me, you can. Like I was an infantry machine gunner, you know. Like
I was eating crayons a couple years ago.
there it is. There it is. But yeah, I
man.
wasn't spiritual or religious prior to the farm at all. I think maybe the war killed that. And now I tell people like every day I spend on the farm, more time in nature, closer to God. And I don't know how to even I work every day, right? I don't take any time off, like very rare, like once a year. And everyone asked me like, where does the drive come from? Where does motivation come from? And I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. It's not like my conscious brain being like, you need to do this to make money or anything like that. It's just like something I have to do.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was also given to me from some other place.
Yeah.
I don't even think the idea was mine.
But it's like you're not even trying to use willpower to get through your days, which most people are doing in their office, right?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I have to like
I
fight
needed
through.
to do this. Yes,
right. Yeah.
yes.
It's more like you're doing what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's going back to your true self, which is God given. So you're fulfilling that. So it makes sense to me.
I think also, like, for people, you know, listen, we took a turn here, and then as we close out, I'm not trying to preach to people, what I'm going to say, but you eliminated a lot of stuff, and you know, chemicals and this sort of thing, and you're eating from the earth, and you eliminated a lot of distractions in your process. And I think, and your body's, you know, you're in a healthier body, healthier state of mind, right? Because all this stuff is connected, healthier soul. And then it makes it easier for you to see the design and stuff, and to recognize, be like, man, see the spiritual part of it. So it's almost like it removes a barrier, and then you're like, you have access to the spiritual part of you. You can say like, you know what? Yep, I see God in this. I see what the design, the creation of this, how this works with this, and this animal cleans that, and this animal poops there, and it makes healthier soil. And you can see that. It makes it easier to see, even though it's in front of our face. It's in front of all of our faces every day, but some people have a harder time seeing it. Sure. And I think there's a connection there with getting healthier, eating better food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you nailed it.
Nah, this is great.
Even
man.
bee stings.
I just saw somebody doing bee stings to help treat their Lyme disease.
We have a lady that comes to the farm that buys
For Lyme disease?
For Lyme disease, yeah. She's like totally fine. She had like moles on her face, and then let the bee sting them, and they went away.
And you've seen this is one that we got to dig into, but the honey, supposedly there's a enzyme in honey that like kills cancer cells.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is brand new research too.
Is it honey or bee venom?
Bee venom.
It should
Bee
say
venom.
if you have
Bee
Lyme
venom.
disease, like consult a professional.
Yeah, there's a
like-
disclaimer.
we got a
at the end of this.
disclaimer on
Yes,
this.
yes.
I'm not telling you to like
So-
come to my farm and to get stung by bees.
Few things. Lyme disease, yes, seek a professional about that. It is not just in the Northeast. It is elsewhere, and it is hard to diagnose at times. So if you have any questions about that, let me know, but do seek your healthcare professional.
But do some research on the bee stuff, because we have a lady that swears by it.
Are you going to have bees on your farm, or do you?
I have 50 colonies, yeah.
Remember I brought you the honey.
That's
Brought you
right.
That
I forgot.
coastal pastures honey.
So where I work in Boca, I work part-time off of Clintmore and Military. There's a little canal right behind the office, and on the other side of the canal, they have bee colonies put up there. I don't know if it's a conservation company or if it's a college thing, but I was so excited, even though I can't like go over there and touch it because, I'll probably get shot. But
Come to the farm. We'll put you in a bee suit.
dude, I'm telling you, you're
They're
going to be
super
annoyed with
interesting.
how much I'm going to bother you about working on your farm.
That's right. Come on over. There's plenty of work, I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
definitely. We're going out there. We want to see this whole operation.
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
cool.
guys, listen. You want to know more about Jake? Jake, where can they find you? Where can people?
LadatoFarms.com. There's an Instagram, and then the old farm is called Coastal Pastures Farms on Instagram.
Okay.
Yep. And we'll include that in our show notes, links to his stuff.
Yeah, for sure. We're probably going to have you on because there's a rabbit hole here. I saw, Rockefeller, chemical, and we could talk about all
that
this.
goes over the petroleum you said petroleum?
Petroleum.
Yep.
Goes over into the pharmaceutical.
Yeah, so we're probably going to have you
everything.
back on. We could have
And then
this
cause
whole
cancer.
conversation.
Oh, wait, he starts the American Cancer Society.
Listen, I've been waiting. We've been like dropping, just keeping it easy, but I think we might have to blow the lid off the whole thing.
Well, we talked about God, which we haven't done yet.
Yeah,
So.
so I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. We'll probably have you back on, and then I really want to hear how you post deployment and all, the
Sure.
CTE, whatever you had to deal with, and how you like healed yourself from that. But guys, support a local farmer, baby.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about
Appreciate
here?
it.
Go
Yeah.
get you some farm fresh eggs, like actually from the farm that still have the chicken poop on them. They're good for you, okay? You're
Yeah,
not,
I like a little feather in my omelet. It's
you
fine.
know, like come on now, get you some of that. Like farmers market, you know, you don't have to buy everything there, but just go buy some, I don't know, get some honey or something from one of your local guys. They're out there, and you kind of heard here, he gave you the wave tops of how much different regenerative farming is than what we think of as farming in the conventional industrial sense, and how much better it feels to eat that way. Definitely. So with that in mind, guys, we're going to close this one out. Janie, anything you want to say?
No?
Jake, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Dropping some knowledge bombs here and get us talking about spirituality as well. And with that in mind, guys, listen, I want everybody out there, stay pharma free, okay? And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the PharmaPhobic podcast. If you found this conversation interesting, which I know you did, make sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And also make sure to check us out on Instagram @Achieve the Lifestyle. And if you're interested in pursuing a stronger, healthier, more capable version of yourself, check out our website @AchieveTheLifestyle.com.
The PharmaPhobic podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not constitute medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider before making any medical or wellness decisions. While we discuss pharmaceutical, holistic, and alternative health topics, our content is not a substitute for professional medical guidance.